All right. Greetings, business people of Montana. This is Bridger Malum, Government Relations Director for the Montana Chamber of Commerce. And this is a live video that I'm doing in lieu of a written Capital Connection newsletter. We're trying to figure out different ways to engage our audience, whether it's text, video, or other kinds of newsletter type things. And so I'm going to try this series of short videos just on issues that come up, try to keep our members and the broader business community apprised of what could be impacting them going forward in the state of Montana. So with that said, I want just these to be short videos for folks, just for people to be able to see, okay, what's a big thing that's coming up? What's something that happened maybe in the previous week or so that would be newsworthy for you and would maybe require your time to maybe act on something to help us advance our goals. And so with that, I'd like our topic that I'm going to bring up this week to just really be around one thing that took place in a legislative interim committee actually last Friday. And so the interim process of the Montana legislature, if you don't know, is a really critical piece to how our lawmaking process works. Given that our legislature only meets for 90 days every 2 years to actually craft and pass new laws, it's hard for legislators sometimes and for the general public to really dive into a really broad-based issue when you only have that short window, a few months, to really even take care of it. And so the interim process for those 20 or so months between legislative sessions is one way for legislative committees, equal representation by party, to be able to dive into these deeper issues. And one of those over the course of this last interim that's taken place since the end of the 2019 session through the end of this calendar year had to do with tax structure and tax policy overall, which was under the responsibility of the Revenue Interim Committee. And the more specific part I'd like to bring up today, action that took place last week, was that there was a proposal to decouple Montana from the net operating loss provisions for business taxes that was included in the federal CARES Act package that was passed recently. And so to decouple us from that component would basically make Montana any Montana business, in this case, ineligible to utilize that net operating loss provision. And so in essence, what this would have done was it would have taken away the ability for businesses to carry back net operating losses from tax years 2018, 2019, and 2020. And what that would be able to do for us as business people is to basically, if you carry back some losses from a tax year that's probably going to be poor for a lot of businesses, such as those that are impacted by COVID-19, don't have a great fiscal year, they can take those losses back a few years and actually be eligible for some immediate tax refund on those previous years, which we believe is a really helpful tool for businesses during this very difficult time, because it should improve these businesses' cash flow some to get some of those tax refunds from previous years back. And this will help them pay their bills, keep their employees on their payroll, and just generally help businesses move through what's going to be a probably relatively long economic recovery through the coronavirus pandemic. And so, again, in this interim committee, there was a proposal to take away this provision from the CARES Act for Montana businesses, and we were happy to see that that this Revenue Interim Committee actually tabled that proposal last week, so that we are still coupled to this very critical provision for Montana businesses. And I'm going to provide links in the description below to these lawmakers. Hopefully my technical abilities will allow me to do that. We'll see. But I want to recognize the lawmakers on that Revenue Interim Committee who voted that proposal to decouple the net operating loss provision down in that committee. And that includes Senators Duane Ankney of Colstrip, Mark Blasdel of Kalispell, Brian Hoven of Great Falls, as well as Representatives Becky Beard of Elliston, John Fuller of Kalispell, and Alan Redfield of Livingston, who is also the chair of that Revenue Interim Committee. We thank you, those 6 of you, for preventing that legislation from coming out of this interim committee and what ultimately could have taken away a needed tool for Montana businesses as we recover. So that's what I wanted to highlight for viewers today, and looking forward to doing more of these videos in the future on topics of the day, of the week, what's coming up, trends, what have you. So very excited, and we really appreciate you tuning in today.